I never thought a 5-minute shower would destroy my relationship with both my mom and my girlfriend. But here I am, 3 weeks later, sitting in my car outside my own house because I can't face going inside to the tension that's been suffocating our home ever since this whole mess started. Let me back up. I'm 26, still living at home while I save for a house. Yeah, I know, not ideal, but rent prices are insane and my mom actually likes having me around. Or at least she used to. My girlfriend Emma has been in my life for 2 years now, and she works these brutal 12-hour overnight shifts at the hospital as a nurse. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., dealing with life and death situations while most people are sleeping peacefully. When Emma gets off work, she's exhausted in a way that I don't think most people understand. It's not just tired, it's bone-deep, soul-crushing fatigue from carrying the weight of other people's pain all night long. The 20-minute drive from the hospital to my place became this little ritual for us. She'd arrive around 8:15 a.m., looking like she'd been through a war, and the first thing she'd do is take this quick shower. Not a luxurious spa session, literally 5 to 10 minutes max, just enough to wash off the hospital smell and the emotional residue of her shift. Then she'd collapse into my bed and sleep until around 4 p.m. When she'd wake up, we'd have what was basically breakfast for her and dinner for me, and she'd head home to get ready for another shift. It worked. It was our normal. I loved those quiet mornings when she'd emerge from the shower with her hair wrapped in my towel, looking vulnerable and human again. My mom seemed fine with it. She'd even started leaving Emma's favorite coffee creamer in the fridge and would ask how her shifts went. I thought we had this perfect little arrangement where everyone was happy. Then Richard happened. Richard is my mom's friend from college. They reconnected on Facebook a few years ago after his divorce. When he was looking for a place to rent, my mom offered him our finished basement. He pays $800 a month, which helps with the mortgage, and he's generally a decent guy. Quiet, keeps to himself, works from home doing some kind of consulting thing. I barely saw him most days. Until 3 weeks ago, when my mom approached me in the kitchen with this weird, uncomfortable expression on her face. "Honey, I need to talk to you about something," she said, not meeting my eyes. Richard mentioned that Emma's morning showers have been waking him up. I stared at her. What? The water pipes run right above his bedroom, and apparently the sound wakes him up around 8:30. He asked if maybe she could wait until later to shower, when everyone's already awake. The way she said it, so carefully neutral, made my stomach drop. Mom, she gets off work at 7 a.m. She's been up all night taking care of sick people. You want her to sit here dirty and exhausted because Richard doesn't like the sound of running water. I'm not saying I agree with it, she said quickly. I'm just passing along what he said. Maybe she could shower at her own place. Her apartment doesn't have hot water half the time. The landlord's a slumlord. That's why she comes here. I could feel my voice rising. Since when is taking a shower at 8:30 in the morning unreasonable? People have jobs, Mom. Normal people are awake by then. I know. Richard's been really good to us, and he pays rent, and Emma doesn't, so she doesn't matter? That's not what I said. But it was what she meant. I could see it in her face. I went upstairs feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. When Emma arrived that morning, I was dreading the conversation, but I knew I had to tell her. She was pulling her scrubs over her head when I said, "Hey, so, my mom's friend complained about your morning showers." Emma froze, her shirt halfway off. What? I explained the whole thing, watching her face go through this progression of confusion, hurt, and then resignation. By the end, she was just nodding, but I could see her shutting down. Okay, she said quietly. I'll shower at home from now on. Emma, no. This is ridiculous. You shouldn't have to dash, it's fine, she cut me off, but her voice was tight. I don't want to cause problems. You're not causing problems. Taking a shower isn't causing problems. She looked at me with these tired, sad eyes. Your mom's friend pays rent. I'm just the girlfriend who's inconveniencing everyone. That's not true. Isn't it? She sat down heavily on my bed. I've been fooling myself, thinking I belonged here. But I don't, do I? I'm just a visitor who's overstayed her welcome. I tried to argue, but she'd already decided. That day, she showered at home, with lukewarm water that ran out halfway through, and showed up at my place cranky and still feeling gross. The next day, she didn't come over at all. When I told my mom that Emma had decided to stop coming over in the mornings, her reaction shocked me. "What? Why would she do that?" she asked, genuinely distressed. "Because you basically told her she wasn't welcome here in the mornings." I never said that. I was just trying to be considerate to Richard. More considerate to him than to your son's girlfriend who works night shifts saving people's lives. My mom's face crumpled. I didn't mean for her to stop coming over. I thought maybe she could just adjust the timing. Mom, she gets off work at 7 a.m. What timing? Should she sit in her car for 3 hours until Richard decides it's acceptable for her to be human? That's when the real argument started. My mom accused me of being dramatic and not understanding how difficult it is to manage a household with multiple people. I accused her of prioritizing a tenant over her son's relationship. We said things we both regretted. "Maybe if you had your own place, this wouldn't be an issue," she snapped. "Maybe if you had a backbone, you would have told Richard that reasonable morning activities aren't up for negotiation," I shot back. She didn't speak to me for 2 days after that. Meanwhile, Emma was pulling away from me too. She stopped suggesting we hang out on her days off. When I asked her to come over in the evenings instead, she'd make excuses. The easy intimacy we'd had was gone, replaced by this polite distance that broke my heart. "I feel like I don't fit anywhere in your life," she told me during one of our increasingly strained phone calls. "Your mom was nice to my face, but the first time I became inconvenient, she chose her tenant over me. And you didn't even fight for me." "What do you mean I didn't fight for you?" I told her it was ridiculous. "But you still told me about the complaint. You still made it my problem to solve." She was right, and I hated it. I should have shut down the complaint immediately. I should have told my mom that Emma's morning routine was non-negotiable. Instead, I'd taken the path of least resistance and let Emma absorb the rejection. Last week, things came to a head. I found out that Richard had been complaining to my mom about other things too, Emma's car in the driveway. Even though we have 4 parking spaces, the fact that she sometimes brought takeout that smelled up the house, it was Thai food, and it smelled amazing, and the general disruption to the household routine. When I confronted my mom about why she hadn't told me about these other complaints, she broke down crying. "I didn't know what to do," she sobbed. "Richard's been such a good tenant, and the rental income really helps, and I was afraid if I pushed back, he'd move out and I couldn't afford the mortgage payment." There it was. The truth. It wasn't about being considerate or managing a household. It was about money and fear, and Emma had been sacrificed on that altar. "So you threw my girlfriend under the bus to keep your tenant happy," I said. "I never meant it that way, but that's what happened." I moved out 3 days later. Not permanently. I'm staying with my buddy Jake while I figure things out, but I needed space from the house and the constant tension. My mom begged me not to go, promised she'd talk to Richard, said she'd make it right. But the damage was done. Emma and I are complicated right now. We're still together, technically, but there's this wall between us that I don't know how to tear down. She says she understands why I'm caught in the middle, but I can see the hurt in her eyes when she looks at me. She trusted me to protect her place in my life, and I failed. Richard, for his part, seems oblivious to the chaos he's caused. He actually had the nerve to ask me last week when Emma would be resuming her visits because he missed seeing her cheerful face in the mornings. I wanted to punch him. The thing that kills me is how preventable all of this was. If I just said no from the beginning, if I told my mom that Emma's morning routine was part of dating someone who works night shifts, and if Richard didn't like it, he could find somewhere else to live. If I'd prioritized my relationship over household politics. But I didn't. I tried to make everyone happy and ended up making everyone miserable instead. I'm sitting here now, trying to figure out how to fix this. Do I move back home and establish better boundaries? Do I find my own place faster than planned? Do I grovel to Emma and hope she'll forgive me for not standing up for her when it mattered? The worst part is realizing how much this whole situation revealed about all of us. My mom's willingness to prioritize financial security over family relationships. Emma's deep-seated insecurity about not belonging. My own cowardice when faced with conflict. I used to think we were this modern, blended family situation that worked for everyone. Now I see how fragile it all was, held together by politeness and unspoken expectations that crumbled the moment someone rocked the boat. I miss the simplicity of those morning showers. I miss Emma falling asleep in my arms, exhausted but safe. I miss my mom asking about Emma's patience and leaving coffee creamer in the fridge. I miss believing that love was enough to make complicated living situations work. Maybe Richard was right about one thing. There was something cheerful about Emma's presence in our mornings. Something that made the house feel more like a home and less like a collection of people avoiding each other. Now the house is quiet in the mornings. Richard gets his uninterrupted sleep. My mom gets her rental income. And I get to live with the knowledge that when my girlfriend needed me to choose her, I chose everyone else instead.
I don't know if that makes me the asshole in this situation, but it sure makes me feel like one.